unicorns soaring through the stars. Rainbows all around the world. Space unicorns. Hey! Hi, Mackenzie.
Wait, I don't know where I'm camera.
I think so, yeah, that's good. See all those. There's our video.
Hi, Marty. Hi, Lacey. Hi, Marissa. Unicorns soaring through the stars, delivering the rainbows all around the world. Woo! Rainbows. Hi, Chrissy. The rainbows. Hello, Carol. Taylor, hi, Carol. Delivering the rainbows. Delivering the rainbows all around the world. Hello.
Yeah, thank you for turning on your cameras. Woo! Hello. Yeah, Emily, I love the costume. Love the costume. Woo! That was awesome, y'all.
Welcome
That was
in.
awesome.
Awesome. If you somehow mistakenly, which I'm not sure that that's possible, got this Zoom account and wondered where the heck you're at, welcome to Halloween Candy and Cheese class.
Woo! We are thrilled to be with you, all four of us, getting to teach class together.
Who's hosting tonight?
You guys.
And?
Me and Everett.
What's your name?
Elia.
So we've got Elia, otherwise known as Mal tonight.
Yeah.
Mel. Gosh, Mom, so uncool.
Mal.
She got it
Okay,
right.
I did it right. All right, and we have a whatever last minute we could pull some sort of carnival thing, court jester, and we've got what, a Bart lover?
Bart fan.
A Bart fan for Bart Simpson.
Yeah.
And our alma mater, Georgetown University, we have a Hoya Saxa, Hoya fan of the game. So welcome. As y'all are coming.
Wait,
yes?
what are you, Mommy?
I don't know, that's what I said. It was the last minute, whatever I could grab. I'm a court jester for Carnival. How's that?
No, you are a peacock.
I am a peacock.
A girl peacock.
Okay, so if you can, we would love to see your faces. Don't worry, look at us.
Yeah.
If you're worried what you're going to look like on screen, fear not.
This last 18 months has redefined what camera ready means. So y'all are all camera ready as far as I'm concerned. Y'all are cheese lovers and you're all over the country and this is amazing.
So if you didn't know, welcome. This is our first ever national virtual class. So that my mother was like, yay, thank you for all the, and I love, oh, I see some sombreros. I see some great hats out there. So my mom, my own mother was like, I thought you've been doing this all year. And we have, we've led over 17,000 people in virtual tastings, but those are all private events and shipped events. We haven't ever just said, hey, public, let's all get together. We do those regularly in person here in Austin, but haven't done a public nationally shipped class. So here we are. And we're going to talk you through it.
No eating things.
So we have some guidelines for you. One, we say, if possible, try not to skip ahead and stick with us. We're going to take you through the tasting. We know it's challenging, right, son?
Yeah.
Because it's a progression of flavors. And if you jump right in,
Candy.
And
candy, best day of all.
And if you jump right in, you might taste, it might be a lingering something that stays on your palate a long time. So is this a novelty class? Absolutely. Is it one though where we actually for real try to pair the flavors of cheese with the flavors and textures of the candy? Yes. So we're going to talk. We are going to go one at a time. We're going to introduce each cheese first, the style of cheese, talk about it. Then we'll talk about the candy and then we'll put them together. Right now, because there's 60 of us nationwide, we're going to say, if you can, keep yourself on silent. But we're going to have time to say, come off or say hi, but use the chat function as well. John is fully managing chat. He's already chatting to people.
And I'm typing around my daughter, so I've got her in a little bear hug here. But those of you that
It's so bad.
have turned on your camera, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Hello from Houston, Leslie. And let us know in the chat if you're celebrating something tonight. We'd love to celebrate. It might just be one of the best holidays of the year, but you also might be celebrating an anniversary or a birthday or just a great afternoon.
And I love this. Thank you, Emily. Yes, tell us where you're at. Again, this is so fun that we're coming together nationally. So I saw Houston, I saw San Francisco. I know we've got some Denver people on there. Hi, Homuts. So let us know if this is your first class, where you're from, and if you're drinking anything, because we'll try to talk about those pairings tonight. We, in all honesty, we're at a rush to sit down, so we all have water in front of us, but any sparkling beverage will go great. So sparkling water, if there's kids out there allowed to have soda, all sparkling Italian sodas will go well. Beers, sparkling wines, all of those, the effervescence is great. And then we will also can talk about cocktail pairings and ciders and wines.
All right.
If you're a wine lover, starting on like a lighter, drier white or rosé, and then moving into the reds for the last ones will be fun.
So we've got some New York, first class, Northeastern Florida, Buffalo, welcome in. Some Austinites. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic.
St. Louis, where else do I see?
Circle C, Colorado, what's up? Los Angeles. This is awesome. Port Charlotte, Florida, what's up?
Hi, Swagger family. Hello to all of you guys. All right, keep it coming in the chat.
Yeah,
Super
amazing. Hoya Saxa from Amanda and Ryan. Outstanding. Bring it in, sis. Bring it in. I love you too.
We have not ever really tried to sit all of us at the table before. So you're seeing an iterative process.
Oh, Eileen is in Nashville. Awesome. Hello.
We've got Dripping Springs. Woohoo. All right.
Some Cabernets. All right. We are stoked, y'all. This is going to be awesome. Everett, how you feeling? You pumped?
Or what are
Yeah.
you looking at this? What are you most excited to eat tonight? The
Red
Red
Hawk with and the peanut
Peanut
butter
butter
cup.
cups.
All right, boys got some talent there.
Elia, what are you
What
most
are you most
excited to
excited
eat?
about? Red Hots.
The Red Hots and the cheese with the Red Hots.
The Candies
Okay,
de
and the
Obeah.
Candies De Obeah. Awesome.
All right.
And the Twix.
And the trick.
So we've plated
Twix.
ours. We each have individual plates, and we've got our 7 cheeses on with our 7 candies. I know I've seen some great pictures come in of family boards all spread out. So however you do it, we're going to talk you through it.
It is so good to see your smiling faces today. You can't see because of this awkward hat. Maybe Kendall.
Why don't you roll it up now?
Are you? Is it allowed?
You're so handsome.
Oh, there we go.
He's so
I'm
great.
smiling too. I'm so thrilled to be with y'all. This is one of my all-time favorite classes that we get to teach every year. Last year was first time our team let us teach it in about 5 years because they love it just as much as us. And now we're getting to do it again.
And if you haven't seen it, it even got picked up by BuzzFeed a couple years ago, which was pretty fun. Something that we don't say is that we usually do try to do new pairings every year. So there's one classic pairing on here that I've seen that's the home run every single year.
Yeah.
And then I think every other pairing
It's something new.
might be something new. So
All right.
hopefully you're along for the journey with us and we see how it goes.
Yeah. So, Chrissy took the class last year. Welcome back. And so Halloween is such a special time. There's some great puns we can use, cheese puns like Munster Mash. But Halloween is celebrated in many parts of the world. How do we celebrate it, Elia? How do we celebrate Halloween?
We go out and trick or treat like
That's-
everybody else.
Well,
That's
not,
right.
But the point is not everybody does that around the world. So that's more of a tradition that we've got.
Yeah, and so this originated, it was in the Celtic areas of Britain before it became an American hallmark tradition. All Hallows Eve. This is such a fun time for kiddos. Last year was want for kiddos. This year is going to be great. And so we're gonna spend some time tonight getting to know these products.
Who's excited for Halloween this year since we didn't get to do it last year? Let me see some fist pumps.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome.
Marty is, Nisha and Jennifer, they're excited.
Woo!
Michael, all
Oh,
right.
I love it. I love it. And so, and everybody has a different favorite candy that they get on Halloween. So throw that in the chat window at the beginning. I want to know what everybody's favorite Halloween candies are.
Okay, y'all lucked out because I did not do candy corn this year. I know that's very polarizing, but I do like pairing candy corn.
Candy corn is so
Yeah,
much
I
fun.
don't like it. Me either. It's disgusting. asking.
Oh, all right. Well, Emily loves candy corn, so we
Yay.
got some Snickers. All right, so
So in Sicily, Spain, multiple places around the world, they have different traditions for celebrating this.
So I would think tonight we want to dive in and eat some delicious things. Everybody got mini toasts. If you got the little mini crackers with your package, what we're going to do is dial in our palates, right? Everybody had a different tasting moment throughout the day. I happen to have a big bowl of gumbo with lots of hot sauce. And so that really impacts my ability to taste flavors. And you may have had a pot of coffee in the morning or a gallon of sweet tea or something that really overwhelmed maybe the palate throughout the course of the day. And so what we're going to do is recalibrate.
Can we do it with the Smarties?
Oh, we can do it with the Smarties.
Okay.
All right. Kendall has thrown a little wrench in. So we're going to let you eat a little bite of candy. Don't eat them all in one bite.
But don't eat it yet. John's going
Don't
to take
eat
you
it.
through the tasting
So
exercise.
get one of those Smarties, put it in the palm of your hand, and then just keep it there for a second. You guys got your Smarties out?
Smartie out.
All right. You're not ready yet? All right. So get it in your hand and then go ahead, pinch your nose and then put it in your mouth and start eating it. Keep your nose pinched and
That's
chew
a
it.
waste of candy.
And
You
you're
don't
like-
taste it.
Yeah, you don't taste it. That's right, Everett. But that's the point. And so keep it pinched. And when you're like, okay, I know what this thing tastes like, release your nostril and exhale out through the back of your nose and let that air flow over your olfactory. And so what this really does, one, it recalibrates our brain and tells our brain to start paying attention. Two, it isolates the difference between the tongue, which picks up salty, sweet, sour, bitter, and umami, and the olfactory, which has thousands of taste memories registered in your brain. And so in this case, I have no idea what you would expect, except that your tongue probably picked up sweet.
All I got, I don't know about you all, feel free to drop in the chat. All I got was the sweetness. And in fact, it was almost too sweet without being able to taste or really smell the fruitiness of the fake flavoring in it. What's up, sis?
I taste some sourness.
You got a little
You got a little
tanginess?
tangy.
Yeah. So for me, I just got that cloying sweetness. And then when I opened it up, I had put a purple one in and I got that in my brain.
Imitation grape.
Yeah, imitation
Awesome.
grape aroma.
So
But really
good.
that whole exercise is to show that taste plus aroma is what equals flavor. And that's why when you have a cold, you can't actually taste things as much. And you need a lot more salt in that chicken noodle soup to be able to give it some more taste, or what is the perception of taste. And it's because your nose is clogged and you can't get all that flavor there through the olfactory.
Yeah,
all
that
right.
was cool. And so really pay attention throughout the tasting. There's lots of flavors here. If you only pay attention to your tongue and what's happening on your tongue, you're only going to get the sweet or that sour that comes through these experiences. But when you're breathing out through your nose, that's where the magic's going to happen. And you're going to get a whole nother level of flavor. Amanda mentioned the citric acid that pops through in the Smartie. So totally fun part of the candy process. I'll try to give you some fun candy facts over the course of the evening. And if you see my eyeballs wandering, I've got like multiple stations up so I can see everybody's faces, see the chat window, make sure I admit everybody if there's somebody in the waiting room. And so, oh, I think we have a new cheesemonger joining us in Leslie, and we got a little guy on there. That's awesome. I love when little kids start eating cheese.
He looks pretty big.
Woo! So let's dive in. What do you think? Should we start eating?
Yes, the only thing I want to say is for you first timers, it's not normally this
Chaotic
or cacophonous, but that is the Halloween show. So we are going to start with the bright white fresh Chev. So it's the doesn't have a what's the word?
It doesn't have a rhyme.
It doesn't have, well, it doesn't have a shape.
A shape.
That's what I was trying to say. And so this is your fresh Chev. And these are fresh style cheeses. So we're going to take you through what we call the 7 styles of cheese. There's numerous ways to categorize cheese. This is the way that we break it down in the most generic. Oftentimes it's easiest to know what do you want to use with it. And so fresh cheeses are like mozzarella, ricotta, fromage blanc, a fresh Chev, which Chev just means goat. And they're always rhineless. So there's no rind on the outside. They're always bright white in color, no matter the milk type, because that will matter. If you're looking later on in your plate, you can see that some are white, some are yellow, some are ivory. That all has to do with the milk type. But all fresh cheeses are going to be bright white. They don't really have a smell. Go ahead and give it a smell. That's the other thing we want you to do is, much like a wine tasting, use all your senses, use your sight, your sound, your nose, everything to kind of do these tastings. So smell this first cheese. It smells like yogurt to me. It smells lactic. It smells like milk. And that's because this is one of the youngest cheese we're going to eat and closest to cheese's original source of being milk. So go ahead and give it a taste. It should always really be a great quality of the cheese. And then a goat's milk cheese specifically is known for being tangy, acidic, minerally, sometimes a little bit grassy, but really it's that citrusy, zesty, that tanginess that is characteristic of goat's milk.
And sometimes quite a bit of minerality. And this comes from LeClaire Farms in Wisconsin. So Larry and Clara Hedrick, you good?
I just have a really, I think the only thing, if you're tasting this and you're like, whoa, that cheese, because we did the Smartie first, it tastes so much saltier than it normally would.
Because our palates are so
we just put all that
sweet.
sugar on
That's
our palate. So I was not expecting.
Woo! Anybody
happened.
else get that reaction?
I got a
Possible.
burger.
That's Mary, I get that. I see that. You know, we set our palates up in a new way. Usually we use like mini toast, something salty, savory, like
You might need a little palate cleanser after the.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about this one.
And so this was this company was founded in 1978. It was sort of like a hobby farm. And over the course of time, they had 5 kiddos and turned it into an actual producing farm of award-winning goat's milk cheeses. So the 5 kiddos, some of them are back working with them, but in the very beginning, Katie, their daughter, was part of the cheese making team, and they created cheeses like Evelyn, which is an aged goat's milk cheese, Cave-aged Shandoka, that is has won top awards at the American Cheese Society before. And then this is their fresh goat's milk cheese. So again, what Kendall is saying, it's a very clean milk, so you get a really clean flavor. Right? Once you cleanse your palate a little bit, you won't have that big salt bomb. And what we paired it with tonight was Smarties. So I found out today for the very first time in my life, there are 2 Smarties. There are Smarties that are made everywhere else in the world, and then Smarties that are made in the US. And the ones that are
I saw somebody comment on it, like a different type of Smartie.
Totally. All right. So Smarties around the world, they were originally created in 1937 by a company in the UK. Roundtree was the company's name, and they are more like M&Ms. They're chocolate coated in a sugar coating, but this family, Edward D., he moved to the US from Europe in 1949, and he had 2 machines and a family. In a rented facility, they started making these sugar, sugar wrap candies. There's not really like a term for them, these little beautiful little cylinders here. They trademarked the name Smarties in the US, and so they can control that trademark here. And then they also produce this candy in Canada, which they call it something different. And it's rockets, I think, is what I read earlier. And so it's a different candy when you're in Canada. But obviously there's lots of imitation stuff now. And it's a family-run business. So the family, the grandkids of the founder still operate this Smartie candy company. And so we paired it with this fresh Chev, the idea of acid and sweet. It's a very contrasting flavor.
So I think the ratio on each one of these, you got to play with it because I think the ratio matters. So I literally took one little one and I topped it. Everett made a sandwich, but you didn't seem to think that was the right combo. No. I took one little one and topped it. And I honestly got the sensation of if you at all like a sweeter bagel, like a French toast bagel or a cinnamon raisin bagel, and then you put cream cheese on the top. That's what it reminded me of. And so that savory sweet combo that you get from a sweet bagel with a savory cream cheese.
I kind of love that. Elia had that for breakfast today.
Oh yeah, she had the cinnamon bagel. What was I gonna say? I wonder if the color you picked matters. So I had a.
Yeah, I say you just got to keep trying and see if it changes. I've got pink now.
I did all of them. It doesn't taste good.
Oh, and there you have it from Elia.
Elia doesn't like the pairing. I guess. But you know what? The beauty of this is that everybody's palate is different. So what we didn't say at the beginning is that all of us have, not only do we have different taste buds, we have different sensitivities to different flavor profiles, like bitter. Some 25% of people cannot actually taste bitterness. And then there's certain compounds of bitter that other people can't taste. Some people are super sensitive to salt, like my mother, and some people are not sensitive to salt, like my mother-in-law. And so you get this very different sensation. Plus, how we ate growing up really impacted our
And I will give
olfactory memories.
I'll give credit to you only have a limited amount of taste buds and they die off over the course of your time. So truly, the more sensitive palates are the young ones around us. And so, when we say like, oh, Brussels sprouts don't taste that bad or things like that, younger palates actually taste them with a more heightened sense of taste than our older palates do.
So
the other thing I was thinking about for this pairing,
we're smart with time.
you're smart with your time. We had initially planned on Pop Rocks for this, and we wanted to do it a couple years
we're
ago.
nerds.
And nerds. Both we had supply chain issues. I know that's like a trigger word. We're all hearing about
We
supply
have
chain
Pop
issues.
Rocks in the cabinet.
I know, but they don't have Pop
it,
Rocks. So the Smarties got subbed in, and something that I was worried about is that fresh Chef can sometimes go chalky in a negative way. And so this was like chalky with chalky. And instead, I actually thought that the Smartie brought out the creaminess of the cheese.
Emily said it ended up like frosting.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that. Super cool.
Okay, Mark, if you try some Pop Rocks on it, I see some people have some Pop Rocks. We thought that might be fun. The fizzle with the tanginess. Okay.
Fizzle with the tanginess.
So I think-
love it.
I don't think that first one was a home run, but I think
I liked it.
I didn't
thought
say
it
it
was
was bad. I
fascinating.
just said it's not a home run.
Right.
It was
It's a double.
burn.
We got a double in the left field.
Okay, what I think though it did for us is like an perfect amuse-bouche, which is supposed to wake up your palate. It was tangy, it was bright. Don't stop eating my candy. This
Hey.
is mommy's class.
Mommy gets one of yours out of the bag tomorrow night.
I'll slap that head. So I think it did exactly what an amuse-bouche is supposed to do, which is create acid. It's when you create the saliva on the side of your mouth. It's tangy, it wakes your mouth up. And so I think we're gonna get ready for some more tastings. The
Yeah.
other thing I would say is chocolate we can pair with all day. Cheese and chocolate are such good friends of each other. Anything that's cloyingly sweet and has a high amount of sugar is a harder thing to
You
pair.
can use the chocolate covered Smarties.
Okay. Oh yeah. Next time we'll do chocolate covered Smarties. All
That
right.
would be good if we can get them from the UK.
Okay. Oh, I like that. They rolled the Smarties into the cheese. Good job,
Nice
Marty.
work. That's awesome, Marty.
Okay. Next up, we're gonna go to our Bloomy rind cheeses. So anybody who's taken a class with us before, Bloomy rind. I feel like that's appropriate for Halloween.
Bloomy
rinds.
rinds. Yes.
You know that this is a Bloomy rind because it has this thin white rind on the outside. Your most classic examples are brie and camembert. What this rind does is it derives from Penicillium camemberti, and it breaks the proteins down in the cheeses as it's aging. So that's what makes it creamy. So I put Red Hots all over mine already for pictures, y'all. We had to get pictures. But if you can look at your piece, I don't think you can see it in mine. Okay, there you can. You see the rind on the outside. You see the cream line right under it. That's where the rind is breaking down those proteins and making it creamy. And then you see that inner chalky paste. So you basically get 3 different cheeses in one. When you take a bite of this, I want you to bite the inside first, that chalkiness first, then get a little bite of the cream line. It's gonna be a little bit more salty and assertive, and then have a bite with the rind. And we always get asked, can you eat the rind? And we say, a rind is a terrible thing to waste.
No rind left behind.
Be
y'all.
kind to your rind. So really, this rind is intended to be eaten, but we say life is too short and cheese should be fun and food should be fun. So give it a bite. If you like it, eat it. And if you don't, forget about it.
Daddy, look.
So
I'm eating
Oh,
that.
wait, you're skipping ahead. Did you do the cheese yet?
yes, you had a little nibble of the cheese.
Okay, I'm going in for cheese.
I ate half the cheese.
Okay.
Good for y'all. So this is one of our shop's favorite cheeses. This is Kanye De Obeah. So this comes from the east coast of Spain, just outside of a city called Alicante. We got to take the kids there 2 years ago. And the cheese maker kind of came up with the process for making this cheese. It's almost sort of like, looks like yogurt instead of cheese curds before it goes into these shapes. Do you two remember when you got to eat that frozen piece of cheese in Spain that you really liked?
I'll get the.
Oh, you don't have to get the book. You just have to picture. I used to do that. When you stay and eat, I need you to eat all your candy.
So in Spain, they actually freeze this and do slices, medallions of it. And that is what goes to their McDonald's on their McDonald's burger, which makes it significantly better.
Oh, so good. And so this is a boucheron style log that they make just outside of Alicante. And you will if you ever see this cheese Kanye De Obeah or Kanye De Cabra, enjoy it. It is a special cheese and it's really fun to bring to parties. Everybody loves it. And we paired it with Red Hots. So this is a cinnamon spice flavored hard candy. It's made from sugar and they use a cold panned candy method, which is typically used to create like a candy shell on the outside. And the burning sensation that you get from this comes from capsaicin, which is the protein that is in spicy peppers, but it's delicate. And so what we're going with, that Candy De Obeah is very cool on the tongue and very sort of palate coating. And that cinnamon flavor makes it pop and get the little tingle on your tongue from the capsaicin and a little bit of spice. But in theory, that cinnamon and the creaminess is sort of like the coating that's on top of a cinnamon roll.
Yeah,
That's
so
like how I think about it.
what I got from the pairing was it actually, because one thing we didn't say is sheep's milk is known for being really, it's the richest, it's the fattiest of all the milks. And so it really coated my palate that I got the flavor of the Red Hot, but none of the heat. So I had a lot of cheese in my mouth. I tasted the Red Hot, but it took away the heat completely. Now, Everett ate them separately. And were you surprised by the Red Hot?
Oh yeah, I've never eaten a Red Hot before, and Dad hadn't said that they're hard candies, so I bit down on it, and then I found out it was hard.
Oh.
It's hard.
Then it got spicy, and then it got spicy.
Well, maybe if you stuck with us and didn't jump ahead, you would have heard.
Yeah, and Emily says, because we hit a double on the first one and a home run on this one, we scored 2 points.
Okay.
So that is awesome. We just keep getting on base. But yeah, the Red Hots, what is super cool, and when you are thinking about pairing food, right? Cheese can be very palate coating, especially these young, creamy, softer cheeses. And so the intense notes of flavor, or capsaicin, which is a different neurological connection to the brain through different pain receptors, actually get blocked from the food itself. So if you're drinking, like oftentimes we get asked if you should like break out that like 30-year-old bottle of red wine to pair with cheese. Oftentimes we say don't do that, because with a cheese you may miss the nuances of the flavor compounds on your tongue because it can coat so intensely.
So the point is, if you have that 30-year-old cab and people come in and we're horrible salesmen, they say, what should I eat with this? We're like, don't, just drink that cab. Just enjoy it. But then, you should really enjoy it however you want to do it.
Oh, it's so good.
So we've done a goat's milk, fresh cheese. We've done a sheep's milk, Bloomy rind. Now we are going into the washed rind category.
Woo, woo.
So for anybody who likes stinky cheese, this is your category.
I love it.
We are all stinky cheese fans. So when we say stinky cheese, I saw thumbs down from Taylor's group.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. There's enough. As long as we can always have different cheeses and different strokes for folks, then we can all enjoy something on the board.
I will, before you continue, those of you that haven't gotten a chance to turn on your cameras, assuming you do have that functionality, I will tell you, you will enjoy the experience a lot more if you can see your own facial reactions. It is awesome to see yourself eating cheese. I promise you, if you haven't done it before, it will make your week. So just turn those cameras on and enjoy us.
Marty's giving me all the energy. We're also, the more energy you give us, the better we are, we promise.
Yes.
All right, so our washed rind cheeses. This is also a surface ripened cheese. So our Bloomy rind cheese we just had was surface ripened, and the washed rind is surface ripened. What does that mean? It means for both of them, you're creating an environment on the outside that affects the way the inside ages. Last one, mold ripened. This one is bacteria ripened. So if you pick up this Red Hot, you see the white, but underneath it, you see this kind of sunset hue, this reddish, orangey, pinkish color. Give it a smell. It's actually, in my opinion, not super stinky, but oftentimes these cheeses
The rind
have a louder bark than bite, meaning that they're stinkier on your nose than they are on your palate. Sometimes they're just as stinky on your palate, so it just depends. But this is one of the former ones where it smells more than I think it's not as funky on your palate. You wash these cheeses when they're younger, and you're washing it and coating it and creating an environment where no molds and spores from the aging caves can really land and grow there. And instead it allows these bee linens to be prolific. And that's what gives it this stinky cheese flavor as it ages out. The tradition comes from Trappist monks, Benedictine monks, who during Lent would wash their cheeses in beer and things that they had around. And so instead, the resulting flavor is it makes this really hearty, meaty, bacony, woodsy, brothy type of flavor. Now, that being said, this is a little bit of an exception because the one we're about to go to is a one of its kind triple creme washroom cheese. So normally triple cremes are back in the last category, the Bloomy rinds. This is a triple creme washroom. And as you eat through it, as John's talking about it, I want you to again to try to we're all got different ages. So yours might be riper than mine. If it's riper, meaning it's runnier or softer, it's going to be stinkier. If it's younger than mine, it'll be a little bit more chalky and it won't be as stinky. But try the inside first, then the little cream line if you've got it, and then a bite with the rind. And tell us about it, babe.
Oh, Elia's.
Our kids have already eaten theirs.
So do you want me to talk about Red Hawk or the candy first?
The Red Hawk.
Because the candy is my favorite
Okay, Red Hawk.
of all the candies. So this is Red Hawk, made by Cowgirl Creamery in Petaluma, California. It was a mistake cheese. So originally their signature cheese was Mount Tam and still is Mount Tam, a triple cream soft ripened cheese, a Bloomy rind in the previous category. And they missed a batch of cheese in their caves. And one of our friends, Kate Arding, who was at the time working with Neil's Yard Dairy, had come into their facility to hang out, and she pointed at the cheeses that had turned orange. She said, "What's that?" And they're like, "We don't really know." And she's like, "Can I taste it?" And they said yes. They tasted it, loved it, and she said, "This is the best thing you've ever made." And it turned out to be another American original award winner. So it's won tons of awards across the country because of the high quality milk. It's organic milk and the incredible flavors that you get in that triple cream with the hint of wash rind. And now what's really cool is it uses the bacteria that is prevalent in that Marin County part of the world. And when they tried to make the same cheese in DC a decade ago, it failed. They couldn't recapture the essence. And so they can only make it in that facility with the bacteria that lives ambient in the world there. And so my question for everybody is that I couldn't find out the exact answer from my team. Did you all get little Frankenstein cups or did you get regular Reese's peanut butter cups? Okay, well, either way, you're gonna enjoy Frankenstein. Fantastic.
It's this, but in a different shape.
And I don't know when that Frankenstein candy came out, but basically H.B. Reese was born in 1879 in Pennsylvania. And in 1917, he saw an advertisement to work on a farm, a dairy farm that happened to be owned by Milton Hershey. And so as an employee of Hershey, Reese wanted to work on like his own little projects on the side. And he created this in 1928, an assortment of candies. It was the first of this sort of peanut butter combination. And he didn't make Hershey's, but he sourced his chocolate from Hershey, from Milton. And they've had a close relationship ever since. And eventually in 1963, Hershey bought the company from H.B. Reese and his family. And so the Frankenstein cup, I am disappointed. I couldn't find out when it was released. And I'm guessing that it was released in the last 30 years. Last year, I think we did the peanut butter pumpkin, and all those different shapes started to show up in the 90s and early 2000s. But one of my other favorite facts around this producer is that he went on to have 16 children. So not only did he make my favorite Halloween candy, but somehow he did that. And so amazing.
Okay, as we start to go in, the Taylor Rush group, what did you think of Red Hawk? All right, see, you never know. Thank you for broadening your cheese horizons. It could have, I know that could have just as well gone the other way.
Yeah, we could have definitely got
okay.
Gladiator style, right? When they're like,
okay, so
you can't eat my Red Hawk. You can have my Red Hots, but not my Red Hawk. This is mine.
Red Hawk.
Basically, peanut butter, rich, creamy, palate coating. Red Hawk, rich, creamy, palate coating. Whenever we're doing pairings, we look for complementary flavors that meld together. like this, or we look for contrasting flavors like sweet and salty that work together. So this is that complementary, and let's go for it.
Good.
I have a question for you.
For us,
Speak loudly.
How do you find out the pairings?
how do we determine the pairings?
Yeah.
That's a great question, bud. So the way that Kendall and I have fortunately been eating cheese with different things for over 14 years now. And so we've been cataloging flavors, different ones that we have always loved. And when we do this kind of stuff, we think about there's texture that plays an important role in the experience. There's the flavors of the products. There's the aroma of the products. And then there's just having fun, like candy gummy worms. And you're like, what are candy gummy worms going to go with? And we make it up sometimes, but that's how we end up doing. You can't, what do you look at? Oh, the Red Hots. Oh, Elia's into the Red Hots. So that's a good question.
This cheese.
So Everett, what do you think about the cheese and the pairing?
This one?
Yeah, the Red Hawk and the peanut butter cup.
Run.
Home run.
So I will say, I didn't want to influence you, but this is the one that has been in our shop tastings, the home run every single year, this combo. So I think you or Casey originally, Casey, one of our cheesemakers originally came up with it. So I have to give her credit on this combo. So y'all didn't only get our whimsical try new things, but the home run from everybody else. I did see Vanessa Homa, if you're drinking a red, this is a good one to have a red with. So I'm breaking the rules early because it's so rich that I do think they will both stand up to a nice red if you're drinking a wine.
So what it makes me think of is there's sometimes those desserts that are like chocolate peanut butter mousse. They're like almost like a frothy, like spoonful, like a pain de creme. Something like that. That's what this makes me think of, is something very soft and like whipped almost, that tastes like peanut butter and chocolate. Like that's what it does.
Ooh,
Awesome.
An IPA, so good. And yes, a triple.
Oh, that's a home run, Amanda.
Okay.
That's awesome.
How are we doing, y'all? Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Hanging in there? Just exactly what you signed up for? Cheese and
Taylor
candy sauce?
Taylor and the team gave us a wave in in unison. That was awesome.
All right, Leslie Z, how you doing? Good.
Yes,
All right. Cool.
the creme. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate you.
The
That was awesome.
Charles Ratliff group, how you doing down there? All right.
All right.
Okay, next up,
This
you
is
guys.
awesome.
So this is where we get to catch up a little bit. I'm going to introduce the next 3 styles all at once, and then we'll just break it down one by one. They're really, it's semi-soft, firm, and hard. Why does that matter? Semi-soft cheeses still have a lot more moisture in them, so you can bend them without them breaking. These are your best melters. So for fondue, grilled cheese, mac and cheese, you really want a semi-soft or firm cheese because it will melt and stay melted. What affects that meltability or that moisture? The longer you age out a cheese, the more moisture it loses. So when you think of a Parmigiano Reggiano, which is the hardest cheese,
It's Parmigiano.
Parmigiano Reggiano.
It's just Parmesan.
So when you think of that, that's a really hard cheese that you can barely even cut with a knife and you have to grate it. That has it's at least 2 years old. All the moisture has drained out of it. And the more moisture that drains out, the more saltier it becomes, or it seems that it tastes that way because you're losing more moisture. So really it's about the age of the cheese, the shape of the cheese. The shape will affect the moisture, the rate of moisture loss. So if it's smaller, it's going to get harder quicker than if it's a really big cheese. And then it's really how you cut the curd. So making cheese is all about separating the liquids from the solids. Little Miss Muffet sat on the tuffet. I should be that one here.
You should.
Eating
That
her
would be so
curds and
cute.
whey. So you have liquid milk in the vat. You add in a little bit of cultures to help be the DNA substance of what is that cheese going to grow into be, like a cheddar or a Gouda. And then you add in rennet. And rennet is what coagulates it and starts changing the texture of that milk from liquid more into a flan or custard-like texture. And so then when it gets that consistency, that's called setting the curd, and then you go through and you cut the curd. If you want to have a semi-soft cheese, you're going to live really big curds because that'll help retain all that moisture. If you know you're going to age it out, you're going to cut them real small because that's going to allow the moisture and the whey to keep draining off. So Then you scoop it up, you put it in your colander or your form, you let the whey continue to drain out. And some cheeses, you press it out, you crank your wheel down and really expel all that whey. And then it goes into the aging rooms to keep going into its life cycle. So this first one is semi-soft. And we are going to Holler Hawker, one of a cheesemonger's favorite cheese. This has been tattooed on cheesemongers across the nation.
Elia is going for the Clean Plate Club and just crushed that pairing and gave big thumbs up already.
Clearly, Mom talked too long. All right, tell me about Holler Hawker.
So this is Holler Hawker. It means, translates to sitting in the cellar, which it does for 10 to 12 months. So Walter Rast is the cheesemaker. This dairy has been around since 1896. And Walter's father bought it in 1987. And then in about 2003 is when this recipe was created. So it's a unique, kind of the new creative bunch of cheesemakers in Switzerland, not just doing the same thing over and over again. And so there's a lot of washing of this, brining on the outside, and tinkering with the recipe until they got it just right. It is a sensational flavor. You're gonna get notes of like French onion soup, brown butter, a little egginess, toasted nut.
Did you say what the logo looks like? No. So the cheese label on the outside, which is just a piece of paper, but it is this freaky kid, and he's got like crazy hair. It looks like he just stuck his finger in a light socket. Like people have now turned it into memes for Halloween. What it's supposed to be is the kiddo being so excited about the cheeses aging that he's running down and like looking at them in the aging rooms, but instead it just looks like this really freaky kid who should be in Poltergeist or something.
I just heard in my ear from a reporter in the field that Frankenstein cups were just introduced last year. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for getting me that information on the fly.
I love having 60 people at disposal who can help us research as we go.
I don't know if that one was a home run. Maybe it was a double.
Well, it was a double home run? Oh no, it was a double.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So Butterfinger, we did a home run with Butterfinger last year with a cheese called Red Rock. I haven't put it with Holler Hawker yet.
Everett, that's great.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Elia ate all hers, so she's doing fine. All right, I'm going in, y'all.
I think what you get there, the caramel notes of the cheese come through even more because there are some in this cheese come through because of the Butterfinger. And I love the texture together, that bit of the sound in your ears. Don't forget, listen to your food as you're chewing it. That gives you some really cool, distinct experiences. So like, for instance, a potato chip, when it loses its crunch is when we as humans think it's stale. The flavor hasn't changed. It's that the auditory experience has changed. And so if you were to throw them in the microwave for a few seconds, they would get the crunch back and they would taste just the same.
People often ask us, oh, I just got a Charlie horse in my leg, y'all. Okay, live, unscripted, and unfiltered. All right. People often ask us how to do the pairing, like, do I put it together? Do I do one at a time? It's really your own experience. I do find that sometimes that affects the way it tastes. Like, which one do you have on the bottom, the cheese or the candy? For most of the hard candy ones, I like the cheese on the bottom with the candy on top in some way. But for the chocolate ones, because I love chocolate, I love these being on the bottom as well. But you can go one and one. You're still going to get the flavor on your palate when then you eat the next one. And then I saw, can you eat the rind of this? Absolutely. This is called a natural rind. This is what the rinds look like in the caves when they just keep wiping them down or rubbing them off, and the ambient spores and everything that grows in there, those caves is what lands on it. These natural rinds are also really delicious with beers and especially with some red wines.
And you can technically eat any rind, even a wax rind. It just tastes like wax. So always try it. If you like it, keep eating it. If you don't like it, stop. Super simple. You paid for it anyway, so you might as well give it a shot.
Okay, somebody try for me. We got to keep rolling, but somebody try the Butterfinger with the Red Hawk if you still have little pieces.
Or the peanut butter cup with the Holler Hawker. Just play with your food at this point.
Okay, I'm choking, so you talk about the
All right,
cheese.
the next cheese is Broadbander Gouda. So coming from Holland, Betty Koster is sort of the Julia Childs of the cheese world, elegant, intelligent, and she is super passionate about Dutch cheeses. She owns a shop there, and part of her business is to create recipes with famous goat cheese Gouda makers, and then change the recipe slightly. And her signature is to age them at a higher temperature. So these cheeses, which would typically get aged at like 56 to 62, get aged around 70 degrees. So they develop different textures faster. And this is a goat's milk Gouda. And so again, we talked about how goat's milk is often that acidic flavor profile, but the Gouda recipe comes across on the palate sweeter than other cheeses, which is, you know, caramel and butterscotch. This is in our top 5 most popular cheeses. And then in the winter time, we get a cheese called Black Betty, which shows up in 2 weeks.
Oh, Black Betty.
Bam. So I think we're gonna probably do another tasting like this in the next 2 months that might or may not have Black Betty. I hope it does. But it's the aged version of this cheese, and it even more tastes like candy. So this is super delicious and wonderful.
I just put them together. So gummies. Gummies are hard to pair. That being said, I did realize that we eat membrillo, which if you've ever had it, or quince paste or membrillo paste. A classic pairing in Spain is manchego, which is a hard aged cheese with the membrillo or quince paste. And again, you're trying to get that sweetness with the salt, and then also the acidity of that membrillo, that fruit paste. So this is kind of just like a play of one membrillo, except instead of being fruit, it's, you know, all this fun processed sugar stuff.
Yeah. And so this
loved it.
This is trolley. Each of the colors is a different
I did the orange
flavor.
and green. That was my favorite.
This is their sour candy. So this came from Willy Metterer. He was a German who founded a noodles and pasta manufacturing company. But after the Second World War, it was easier and cheaper to get sugar than it was to get other ingredients. So he switched his manufacturing to confections. So the trolley company came into existence around 1975. It's been in the US since 1984. They were the very first company to make gummies. So the very first company to make gummy worms. Back in the day, they were created because they looked scary to parents, but kids loved them. And so they make 2 different types. They make plain gummy worms, and they make those with these sugary, sweet, sour coatings on the outside. And it's got gelatin in it, and that's how you make it. So go with all the different flavors.
What I loved about this, and I'm coming to you, sis, next. What I loved about it is it actually took away the sour. I got tangy like nobody's business. I got tangy. But this, I lost the sour, and then I thought the cheese was gonna overwhelm it, which is pretty crazy that cheese would stand up to all this artificial sugar. So the cheese came through, and then at the very end, I got back on the gummy flavor train. Elia, what were you trying to say a minute ago?
Well,
Come on in the screen, honey. They can't see
You
it.
can't see it, and this
Come on
is
in now.
this is her plate so far. In case anybody is keeping track at home, that is as empty as it comes, and she's eating my plate.
All right, what were you gonna say, sis?
so the cheese,
Okay, use it for an example.
the cheese and the gummy worm, which
Right over.
We're right
this,
over here.
Where what?
is the so first I tried
The gummy one.
First I tried the color with the yellow and pink,
Okay.
and I taste a lot of cheese on the first time. Then when I got to the end, I chomped up a little piece in the and it was gummy worm, and it just gave me this tangy,
Oh, it came back.
sweet flavor that I couldn't just not get enough of.
Okay.
You couldn't get enough of it. That was the
Can I eat this?
Yeah, you earned it. Yeah, buddy, you can talk.
I think I thought it was a triple, but the only
Yeah.
weird thing, right, is I'm not used to tasting like cheese with candy.
Right.
I'm only used to eating candy.
We're not used to it either, but
You're not used to eating cheese?
no, cheese and candy.
So
So,
it tastes
so I think what
kind
Elia
of weird.
was saying was that the trolley, texturally, it started like a candy, and then it tasted mostly like cheese, but at the finish, the trolley candy came back, which I think is super cool. And I kind of explained the
Okay,
same thing.
Dixie, how you doing, Dixie? Good, thumbs up.
Thumbs
All
up,
right.
yeah.
The Carol Gorman group, y'all doing good in there? Yay! All right, Dawn, loving that green wig. Lisa Yates, how's your cat ears crew doing? Okay, just checking in with y'all. We're on the home stretch.
All right, 2 cheeses left. So you want to talk?
Okay.
Do you want to do compo?
Yeah. Last up is our hard cheese, or of the semi-soft from hard. Now, honestly, if you pick it up, this is more semi-soft tonight. So just know that it depends on what age we get it in. But the one that I'm eating from is definitely more representative of a semi-soft. So this probably means it was more like 4-month than some of the older age versions might have been under this a hard style cheese. However, you still get some of the same texture in it that you would. Campo de Montalban is from Spain. If you have had Manchego, which is just a name-controlled sheep's milk cheese made from, name-controlled means it has to meet all these regulations. So it's made from the milk of La Mancha sheep in a certain region and has to meet all these quality controls. Campo de Montalban is actually made in a nearby region, and it's made with a blend of cheeses. So it used to be called Manchego, but they can't call it Manchego anymore. So it's made not only with rich and nutty, cow's milk, which is buttery and grassy, and goat's milk, which is tangy and acidic. So you're going to get a little bit of all those flavors in that Campo de Montalban. So let's go for it.
It's so good, so good. And the Skittles. So the Skittles were marketed by the Wrigley Company. Skittles were first commercially introduced in 1974 by a British company, and then introduced in the United States within the same decade. They're named after, and I don't know, maybe my reporter in the field might have to do some more research on this, but they're named after a game called Skittles, which I have never played. And so I would love to know what that is. I will be doing that research later today. They were domestically started, so they were introduced in like 79 into North America and started production in the US in 1982. And so this is amazing. They are hard shelled candies like M&Ms, but with more of a sugar, citric acid, corn syrup interior. They have a variety of different flavors. The pack that we got was the standard classic. And so try different colors with the cheese. See if combinations, what's fun is you might do orange and red and if it together with the cheese, and that might be better than just red by itself.
I leaned in and started with the yellow because acid with acid, that's my pairing that I'm going for. It was good. I wish the cheese was aged out longer, like we originally
More
thought
salt.
this one would be, because it would be more salt, and that salt and sugar would play more. Right now, I end up mostly with candy.
Tastes like cheesecake. That is good, y'all.
All right.
That tastes just like cheesecake. I took the advice of Trisha, who said orange first. Now I'm going with yellow. This will be more like a lemon pound cake.
Okay.
That's what I'm going
Yeah,
for.
it is kind of like that. What's up, sis?
Well,
We got to the last one.
when I ate one Skittle and one bite of that, I couldn't wait for cheese.
You couldn't even taste the cheese?
No, I said I could
Only taste the cheese. Fair
Okay.
enough. All right. Well, thank you for trying it.
So, and for the record, Elia has like a master palate and can taste all these crazy things. So,
I can smell things in the air.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
true. All right, so let's move to our last one.
Philip said, oh, you can eat Skittles one at a time? Never knew. That's
Well,
funny.
What was weird to me is I don't think of Skittles as being that hard. And after the cheese was so soft,
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, the Skittle's so hard,
So-
even though it's not
so
really a
crunchy.
hard cheese.
All right, we got one cheese left, y'all. You guys are amazing. And this has been a real pleasure to spend the night with you guys. This is awesome.
Okay, last one. Come here. I just told a kid to stop it, and now he's sad. Come over here and sit on my lap. Okay, last up. Y'all are doing great, kids. I don't actually know that you've ever made it through the whole class with us, so
Oh,
good job.
This is amazing.
I just like the
Mwah.
chips.
Last up, blue cheeses. Who's a fan? Wave your hands in the air. Don't care. Who's not a fan?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we have a couple.
All right. So blue cheeses. If we go back to when they are in the liquid vat, when it's liquid and it's in the vat, you inoculate the milk with a mold that derives from Penicillium roqueforti, aka Roquefort, being that first blue cheese that we knew about. And Later, when you have your firm cheese, you go back and you poke holes in it. And some little artisanal places will poke a needle in it, one little needle at a time. Some will put it on this crank that looks like a flour press and they just push it down and all the needles come puncture it. But what it's doing, they're not injecting any blue mold into that cheese. What they're doing is allowing that mold that's aerobic to actually vein. So as soon as that mold hits oxygen and the oxygen hits that mold, that's what allows it to develop coloring. So you may have had a blue cheese like Montenegro from Spain, which has never been pierced. And so it doesn't vein on the inside, but it does have that molding. There are also blue, green, yellow, different striations of mold. Some are younger, some are older, some are more wet, some are drier. You can get very different flavors in blue. I think when people think of blue, they think of that traditional blue cheese crumbles that you get on a steak salad. But there can be piquant, which is spicy on your palate. It hits you in the back of the throat. It hits you in the gut. Then you can also have these verde or green or younger creamy flavors that are cooler on your palate and they're more fudgy like. So this one we're going, which one are we doing?
Blue to Basque.
So we're actually going for that more creamy, fudgy.
And it's got a natural rind on the outside. And so this comes from Onatic in Spain, in France, in the Basque country. So right near the Spanish border. This area is really famous for its sheep's milk cheeses. So we're finishing strong with sheep milk. Osso Irati is the classic name control cheese from the region. But Blue to Basque is incredible. Onatic, we got to take the kids to Onatic. Oh, you want to talk? Go ahead, baby love.
Well,
You gotta be quick.
No, you
We're on
can't.
the
This
home
is different.
stretch.
okay, so there's the blue cheese that Daddy's eating right now?
Yeah.
We went into a cave
Uh-huh.
a long time ago.
Yep.
When I was like 5 or 4.
Yep.
And we saw a lot of blue cheese in a cave. It was awesome. It was weird. It was creepy like Halloween because water kept dripping down in
Yeah.
on the
A true cave.
It was so weird and it smelled so stinky.
Thank you,
All
sis, for
right.
that commentary. All right, so we love chocolate and blue cheese, and we could do chocolate and blue cheese all day long. We paired this Twix with the sheep's milk. So sheep's milk, again, is the richest of the milks. It needed, we wanted to pair that richness with that caramel. Then you get that cookie in there. So it's basically like putting it with a biscuit.
Yeah.
And then that chocolate fudginess.
So
This is an easy pairing for me, and I love it.
Hopefully the team sent you the single sticks so that you didn't have to decide whether you were a right Twix person or a left Twix person, because that would have been just too much pressure on a night like tonight. So Twix, another product that was born in the UK. They have a rich tradition of candy. 1967, Twix was brought into the US in the late 70s, I think it's 79. But it's changed a couple different times. And now we have Twix bars that are made in Cleveland and Tennessee. And they're made alongside M&M. So this is a Mars Incorporated product. And man, I just love this bite of chocolate and biscuit with any blue cheese,
Blue to
as
Basque.
far as I'm concerned.
So
It's
go
all
back,
mine.
mix them around. Ooh, try the Butterfinger with this one too. But I actually think Twix is the way to go with this one.
Yeah.
And
We got an
now,
awesome pairing from Marty and Debbie. Yeah.
okay, so we would love for you, as we wind it down, to drop your favorite pairing in there. Normally we would do like a woo and tell us to vote. I would love to hear your voices as we start to sign off in a minute. But I just wanted to end in a little moment of gratitude and say thank you. You know, we didn't say
Thank you for your cheese, everybody, if you made the cheese.
thank you to any cheese makers out there, says Elia. In case you didn't know, we are a mom and pop shop in Austin. We started 12 years ago after John made a honeymoon decision to quit his job and do something in cheese. If you haven't seen it recently, we are so lucky and grateful. We are now spokespeople for Capital One and have a commercial that has gone nationwide, which is pretty freaking cool. And so thank you for telling us where you've seen it. And we've been lucky to win numerous awards like Best Cheese Shops and critically acclaimed and generous business awards and such. We're a mission-driven business to do good, eat good. And for us, that means supporting artisanal makers who treat their lands regeneratively and sustainably, their herds of animals humanely, their teams ethically, and then make a delicious product. In turn, we have the honor of telling your stories. And when you spend your hard-earned dollar with us, we promise to do the same and give back to our community with our time and our treasures, and of course, give back as well. So thank you for being a part of that
Thank you,
Do Good
thank
Eat Good
you,
mission.
thank
You may
you.
not know it, but just by eating candy and cheese, you're supporting a good cause. So thank you all. Thanks for supporting small makers. And I think we'd love to say
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, y'all. And
Happy
I'm gonna-
Cheesily.
Wait, though, I got one thing to say as John unmutes you and lets you come and tell us how things are going as you roll off. This is the first of this monthly class. November is how to make your own holiday cheese boards class, we are certified cheese professionals, and certified cheese professional Casey, I think, is leading that one. And then December is a taste of the holidays, and that's going to be a really fun novelty one like this with gingerbread bites and stuff like that too. So keep an eye out for the November one and the December one coming up. And with that, John, take it away, honey.
Yeah, well, I just want to talk to everybody for a minute. I want to see if I can unmute everybody. Let's see if I can do. Oh,
How y'all doing?
Yay!
Everybody.
Halloween!
This was awesome. Happy Halloween.
Hi, baby.
well, thank you for coming back. Go Astros. This was epic. Thanks, y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Happy Halloween and thank you.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Thank you, Marty.
Fantastic.
Bye. We're gonna visit someday.
Oh, hot dog costume. Woo!
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Bye.
We can't wait for the next one.
Moya Saxa.
Moya Saxa. Woo!
Hot diggly dog.
Thanks, y'all. Have an amazing night. Good night.
Yay, thanks, Lauren.
You.
Bye, Dixie.
Hey, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, all.
Bye, Michael.
Bye.
Gallery, but I lost my full screen. I don't know they're still on.
Bye, y'all. Good night.
Bye. Happy Halloween.